Yeah, hi all. Yeah, hi. Today, let me explain you about React JS, how we do React API calls like that. So before that, I wanted to create an API call. I mean, I will be creating a project. So I will click this project. Meanwhile, I will explain what all the agenda we are going to discuss, like npx create React app. So this is a React CLI command to create a React applications. So here I'm just giving an React API Axios example. So this is a project name I'm giving here. So I will be clicking enter. So now the project will be creating at one point. So meanwhile, so here see you can observe the project is creating. So let me explain what is the difference between NPX. Earlier we used to give NPM, but now we are giving npx. So let me explain that first, and later on we'll discuss our agenda. So meanwhile it would be downloading the project. So npm is nothing but node package manager. So whenever we need any package from the npm repo, we need to use npm, whereas npx is nothing but node package executable. So it is like we are going to uh, execute this create CLI app only once for this project, right? So that's the reason we are using npx. So this is only one time activity, node package executable. So we are trying to execute this only we will be executing this only once. So we will be using npx instead of npm. So this that's the reason we'll be using npx here. Okay. So next thing, what we are going to learn in this session, especially we'll be learning about how react how we are going to do API calls, how we are going to do the API calls, and what is the best lifecycle method in which we are going to do this API call. In React.js, we'll use a component did mount. This is the lifecycle we are going to use for API calls. For class components, this is a life cycle we are going to use for doing the API calls and fetching back the data again. So what we are going to do, we are going to use an Axios. Like this is a third party API calls. We can do API calls, getting request and response like that with this Axios. So I will be showing how we are going to use this third party Axios, how we are going to install that, and how we are going to do API calls with these Axios. So let's check. So still it is not completed the project. So meanwhile, I will explain you how to install this Axios. We need to install this with npm install hyphen save Axios. So this is a dependency we need to add. This is the first step we need to do. And the second step is we need to import this dependency into our into our file where we are trying to do the API calls. So this is the second step we are going to do. So in order to do the Axios calls, we need to have some API written on the backend so that we can fetch some data. We need to take some get call, get URL. We need to fetch that URL data back, and we need to do. So for that we don't have any backend, but we have that a fake API. So let's see what is this fake API. I will go to the browser and I will show you. Type fake API. So you will have the first link like JSON placeholder. Here you can find a lot of API calls, like these are the dummy API calls. I'm going to the post. So you can go to the any of the you are interested in. So initially I'm going to the post. So if you see, I click that. If this is a get URL, if I ask this get URL, it would be returning me this JSON file. So these many records I will be getting as a response. Okay. If I ask that uniquely like a post to, so it means only we are interested in, we are sending the second ID. So we are sending the second ID, and we are getting only the post to second record itself. So that's the main advantage. So now here we are we'll be using the get call URL like this, and we'll get all these 100 records first. So let's see how we are going to render this in our component. So for that, yeah, now the project was created. Let me go there and open this in the Visual Studios. Just right click here, open with Visual Studios. This project would be opening in the Visual Studio. So as we mentioned that we are let me open the app.js first. Yeah, I will remove all this code first, and I will convert this class functional component to the class component, because we are going to use the component did mount here. So I need to extend the component, because uh, as on when we are trying to use the state and lifecycle methods, that class should be extends this component. Then only we can use the state and lifecycle method. So as on when, if you observe, I have extended this component, it was automatically imported here. This is a component is a named export from the React package. So whenever you are trying to extend a component, so you need to import it from the React package. So in the React classes, we need to, you have a render function first. So I'm rendering some function here, and everything looks the same here itself. It's the same as what we do. Okay. So now what I need to do? I'm in this project. So as per my requirement, I need to install the Axios. So in order to call the third party, this is a way we are going to install Axios. Install hyphen save Axios. So as I said, we are trying to install Axios. Axios is a third party library where with the with this help, Axios help, we are going to do the API calls. So once this was imported, I mean installed, so we can import that in this app.js file, and we can call the API call directly. So now if you observe, the Axios 0.19.0 was installed. So now I can import that here, like in this way, import from Axios, and Axios will be imported. So I will import Axios. The first step is I'm going to install it as a dependency. As on when I install this, you can check that in the package JSON, it would be added. Axios, it was added just now. Okay, you can check here. Once we install here, it would be added here in the package JSON. So that we can use in any of the files in this way. Like we can directly import it, import Axios from Axios. So here, as we mentioned, the third point is we need to write a component did mount function to call this Axios. Okay, this was the third point we need to remember. So for that, I'm using the component did mount method, and I'm writing a Axios call like Axios. So this was very much easy. No need to remember more functionality like syntax. Axios dot get. This is Axios. This is a reference which we have imported from Axios library. Axios is a reference for this library, Axios get, and we need to keep an URL. So usually this URL is a URL in our applications. The backend team would be providing this URL, but for here we are using the dummy API call. I mean a fake API call, this one. So I'm trying to use post API call, and later on we need to use promises here. So promises are nothing but, let me explain what are promises here. So for any promise, we have two things, like the promise may be resolving or it can be rejected. So if it is resolved, we can get that, response in the then. If it is rejected, we need to catch it in catch of the Axios. So a promise can have only two things. A promise can be fulfilled or it can be rejected. So if it is fulfilled, we used to call it as resolve, and we need to catch it in then. If it is rejected, I mean some error may occur, so the API call would be rejected. So we need to go to the catch. The that error would be catched in the catch. So let me show you first resolve how we are going to resolve a promise. So thereafter, I will create one issue and will show how this catch would be working. So I'm showing here like this. I mean, this is a then. Then we are writing means this is a promise call. Like once this was completed, then this line would be executing. So now I'm writing this as a response. So this was back. It would be returning me this line back. So just now, for now, I'm consoling this console log uh, Axios get call. Okay. Now let me show the response. What exact response we are getting. So before that, let me explain when this component did mount will be executed. The component did mount lifecycle method would be executing once after the return function is happened. So once the return was done, this component did mount would be executing. This function would be automatically executed. So that's the reason it is called as a lifecycle method. So let me run this application npm start here. I'm running on the right side here. So once it was run, we can check that in the localhost 3000. So I'm not rendering any of the component here. If you observe, I'm not rendering anything. Just I'm doing an API call and I'm showing that response in the console. Okay, let's check. I'm opening the developer tools and I'm clicking the network. Let's check whether it is still, I think, starting the development server. It was a bit slow. Yep, I think it was started. You can find our console here. So if you see the console, Axios get call was executed. So you can observe the response. This was a response. This is a response we have printed here. Console Axios get response. Likely we are printing the response. What we got, we are printing it. So here you can observe the status code. It is 200 status text. What are the headers it is showing and everything. But we are interested in the data. So this is the data we are getting. So we are interested in the data. So we need to access it in this way, like response dot data. So you can observe here. This is an array of objects. Here you can find 100. Nearly there are 100 records. Okay, so how here you can find the post. This is a get request which we have done. So this is a get call we are doing and we got 200 status and we are not sending any payload. Why? Because this is a directly get call, so we are not getting any sending any payload. You can observe this is a preview of the data and this is the response. Okay, so we need to we need to access the response directly. So as we have access response, we got all the things like this, like data, headers, status code, everything. But we are interested in data. So you need to call this as response dot data. So in this way, we need to access the response dot data. So now if you observe, we will be getting only the data records in there. So, okay, that's fine. Now we could able to do the API call. Now how we are going to show that in the app.js, I mean in the front end, how we are going to show that, how it looks to the end users. So for that, we need to create a small component where we are going to loop that component and we are showing all this post into that component. Let me create one post component, post.jsx. So let me keep this as a simple, I mean a functional component, not writing more syntax or a class, not taking this as a class component. Just I'm making this a simple functional component. So like a constant post. Here we can return. We are going to return. It will accept the props. So now we'll show the props of title and props dot comment, like a props dot ID and the comment which we are going to show. Let me show that. Like in this div again, I will take another div where here I can show the props dot title. So why I'm using the title means I know that in the response I will be getting the title, and also I will be using the user props dot body. So let me check whether we are getting both of them or not. See, we are getting title and body. So we'll be sending this title and body props to this post component and we'll rendering this post component. So that much simple this is. So export default post. I'm exporting this component. I will be using this component in the app.js. So I need to import it here. Yeah, I have imported this. Okay, we have imported this post component here. So now how we are going to access and how we are going to set our state. So we need to modify the set state with the latest response data we are getting, and we need to show that data in the render component. So that was the thing we need to do. So let me do that. To have a state, I'm using a constructor. So to have a default state, I can use, I'm using this constructor, this is the default state I can use. And I keep in mind that we'll be doing this dot state only in the constructor function. So rest of the places we need to access this state as this dot set state. So this is the only place we are directly using here. So here, if you observe, there is some error I am getting, cannot find the posts. We are not pointing it to the correct file. Yeah. So now I have pointed to the correct file. So it got the, so now I'm taking a posts empty array. In this empty array, I'm going to set the state. So here I will be setting the state like this dot set state. Once I got the response, I will change its state like posts. Now I can change in this data with response dot data. So initially I have taken the empty array. So later on when I get the response of response dot data is an array of objects. So this is an array of objects. So where that array of objects I'm placing that in the post set state post. So once this was set state, again the function would be render component would be calling. So here I need to use this post state, the response we are getting, and I need to render the post component. Let me show you that. Like in the render component, I will be using constant post. It's like a small post. Here what I'm going to do, I will be getting the latest data like state, this dot state posts. So latest data which we get, from the response. From there, I will loop, I will loop this data. I will loop this data, and I'm going to create that many records here. I will loop the data here. I will get all the post response here. I'm accessing this dot state dot post map. In the P will be having each post. So for each post, what we are going to do, for each post we'll be returning an component, post component. So which was we have imported in at the top. So we'll be writing the title, property, and we'll send p dot title, and we'll write uh, body property. We'll send p dot body. So we are sending two properties, title and the body. And along with this, we need to send some key as React expects some key that should be unique. So we are also sending. So let's not send this first, and I will show what we will be getting there. So this is what we are sending here. So this is not post. We got an error like is not defined. So this is post as we have imported this as a post. So now what we are doing means we got the data. We did one API call. We got the response. We have set that response dot data in the post state, and as on when this dot state was modified, again the render method would be calling. In that render method, I am trying to access the post, the response data dot map. I am looping each and every array of object, and for every object I'm using this post component which I have imported here, and I will be just using this post here. I will modify the constant as post data because this is a set of data I can use here as we are using in the JSX. So directly I will be using this. So now what we have done, we did an API call, we got response, we have modified that state in the post, the response data was present in the post, and now we have the re-render method will be calling again. Now in this re-render, I have taken one post constant in which I'm iterating each and every object, and I'm creating these many post components, and I'm passing title and the body here, and all these components would be written back and kept in this post data. So directly I'm rendering that in this post data. Okay, so we are sending this title and body, and those are used as the props here. So everything was set here. So let me check it. So now if you see, we got in this way. So there was no CSS, proper CSS kept. We did not kept a proper CSS. So we got this much. It was direct response we are getting. So it was a bit clumsy. So let me do one thing. I mean, we need to modify the CSS file. Let me create one more to make this visible good. We'll create one CSS file and we'll do that. See here we got an array of 100 records. So we are passing. So it was given one warning for us. Each children in the list should have an unique key. So this is what I'm trying to explain. Each children will be having an unique key property. We need to have a key property unique. Uh, it means we are looping up one components. So here we need to give a key that should be unique, so that it helps React a lot. If we just use the index as a all will do like this, like they will have an p and index here. So if I do this p dot index, so this will remove the warning for us for now. But the thing is, we should not use the default index which we are getting from the map. So this will not help the React performance. Anyway, uh, if we remove or we attach, the index should be modified. So this key is not that much performance helpful for React. We're not helping much React for giving that index. Instead that we need to give an unique ID which we are getting from our response. Like we are getting unique ID like ID. So in this case, we need to give that these IDs. ID is 1. So in the for that key, we are giving an unique ID p dot id. So this, with the help of this key, the React, if we are giving an unique ID for the key property, so React would be very much happy, so that it got an unique ID, so the performance hit will not be there. It can identify our components by unique. So that's the reason we'll not be getting the warning now, and we got all the records here. So this is a sample get call we are doing here, the post call. So we got all the response. We have shown that like this. So instead we can use a beautiful, CSS properties to show how they look beautiful. Okay. So that I will be showing you in the next class, how we are going to add the CSS part like that. I will be showing that in the next class. For now, just wind up what we had learned. So NPX, we have learned what are the difference between NPM and NPX. Don't feel that this is a new word like NPX. It is feel that this is a new well-known word like npm node package executable. When you are using this in your project or somewhere else, it means that you are only doing this action once. So that was the main thing. And the API calls we used to do in the component did mount lifecycle method, the Axios third-party library we are going to use. And these are the steps we have used, like how to install, how to import, how to use that function. And here we have talked about the promises as well. We have also created one more component, post.js. Yes, and we are did this API call, and we have set that default state as post array of objects. And here I'm doing response.data will be coming in its post. I'm iterating that with an map function. I'm iterating all the objects, and I'm sending that to the post component, and I formed all the objects JSX syntax code here, and I'm using directly here. So that was that's the main agenda here. We could able to do the get call. In the next classes, we'll add some CSS so that this post looks somewhat good, and how to transfer this data, post call, delete call, and everything. We'll be proceeding with each and every call further. Thank you.